Is it okay to start, ma'am? Good morning po. Morning po, Ma'am Lenny, Vice President.
Good morning, Sen.
Is the we'd like to call this budget briefing of the Office of Vice President to order. First of all, we'd like to acknowledge, of course, our second highest official of the land, Her Excellency Vice President Lenny Robredo. Good morning, ma'am. And first, our senators present. We have with us our Majority Leader, Senator Zubiri is online. Our Minority Leader, Senator Gilon. And the first to log in is Senator Kiko Pangilinan. So we'll follow that order, Your Honors. And of course, from the Office of the Vice President, we'd also like to acknowledge, aside from the Vice President, her Chief of Staff, Mr. Philip Francisco D., Budget Division Head, Mr. Kelvin Tenido, Chief Accountant, Ms. Julieta Villa del Rey, Planning Division Head, Ms. Caroline Mangalili, Area and Constituency Concerns Division Head, Mr. Rafael Martin Magno. Hopefully, I have not missed anyone, failed to acknowledge anybody. And again, we thank you for your presence and the attention you give. We're honored by your presence virtually, Madam Vice President. And you have the floor for any presentation that your office may wish to present.
Thank you very much, Sen. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to the honorable members of the Senate Committee on Finance. Senator Angara, our Majority Floor Leader, Senator Zubiri, Minority Floor Leader, Senator Drilon, Senator Kiko. If we can be allowed to do a brief presentation, Sen.
Yes, please, please, Madam Vice President.
At the Office of the Vice President, we remain committed to responding to the needs of our people despite limited resources. We've exerted all efforts in making sure that we are able to contribute in the best way we can to the challenges before us. Next slide, please. Prior to our term, the main service program that the OVP offers directly to the public is its medical assistance program. From August 2016 to September 2021, the total amount utilized for medical assistance has reached 1.23 billion pesos, serving 92,373 beneficiaries. We currently have 30 partner hospitals and service providers all over the country to ensure that our help is made accessible to more indigent and vulnerable Filipinos nationwide. Next slide, please. But since 2016, we resolved to transform the office to do more than just provide medical assistance. We launched our flagship anti-poverty program, Angat Buhay, where we partner with the private sector organization so that we can serve more communities in issues spanning from universal healthcare to rural development. To date, we have engaged 346 organizations as partners, mobilizing more than 450 million pesos, which benefited more than 500,000 families and individuals in 223 cities and municipalities. Next slide, please. It is the same power of partnerships that we have harnessed to launch one program after another as the needs evolved due to the pandemic. The OVP COVID-19 response initiatives were rolled out as early as before the first lockdown. While some of the initiatives concluded last year, others continued to be implemented in 2021 together with new programs. Next slide, please. PPEs, food and care packages, and locally produced PPEs. The first problem that confronted us was the lack of PPEs for our medical frontliners. We initially appropriated 5.995 million pesos from our funds for the purchase of PPE sets. To further address the gap, we partnered with our Angat Buhay partner Kaya Natin Movement for Good Governance and Ethical Leadership and did a donation drive from March 13 to April 30, 2020. Almost 55 million pesos was raised out of that. To meet supply and demand, we pursued a more sustainable alternative by partnering with local designers and medical experts in locally producing PPEs. This doubled. Okay. This doubled as income generation for 23 sewing communities from Metro Manila, Cavite, Laguna, Cebu, Lanao del Sur, and Nueva Ecija. From March 2020 to present, we were already able to distribute 575,550 PPE sets and other medical supplies, serving 38,370 frontliners, plus an additional 49,276 locally produced PPEs, serving 1,181 institutions. Food and care packages, as well as hot meals, were also distributed to communities and medical institutions. The OVP also facilitated the transport of 1,797 locally stranded individuals in partnership with LGUs and the presidential management staff. Free shuttle, we also did free shuttle services. When public transportation was suspended after the declaration of ECQ in March 2020, we offered free shuttle service for health workers and affected frontliners. This was made possible with the help of partners and volunteers, such as the Ube Express and Diamond Motor Corporation. Shuttle service for frontliners operated in two phases. First was during the ECQ from March 18 to April 14, 2020. The second one during the next ECQ from August 4 to 18, 2020. Overall, the program served 20,384 passengers. Free dormitories were also offered to frontliners. We opened 12 dormitories and 4 temporary shelters, serving a total of 498 frontliners and essential staff. Sheltered frontliners also received other amenities and services such as free Wi-Fi access and even haircut services. The OVP also set up community kitchens to address hunger in the poorest communities affected by the pandemic. The initiative continues this year but has shifted to donations received from various donors. The OVP also launched Community Mart. It is an app-based online palengke service with the help of LGUs and TODA associations. This provided livelihood to market vendors and tricycle drivers who were affected by the lockdowns. The initiative was launched in Kamuning Market in Quezon City, Pasig Mega Market in Pasig, and Muntinlupa Public Market in Muntinlupa. Some 31.3 million pesos in total sales was generated for partner market vendors. When a surge of cases placed Cebu under ECQ in July to August last year, we sent a team to Cebu and replicated our COVID-19 response initiatives in the province. This included free dorms and free shuttle and ferry services between Olangua Island and Mactan Island. The office allocated 2.25 million pesos to cover the expenses for assistance to communities in the form of relief packs. Next slide, please. The OVP also turned over testing kits to support more testing by LGUs and different medical institutions. A total of 54,262 extraction, detection, and antigen testing kits were provided to LGUs in Lanao del Sur and Dinagat Islands and to medical institutions like the Iloilo City COVID-19 Laboratory and the Zamboanga del Sur Medical Center. For 2021, a total of 1,100 antigen testing kits that were donated to the OVP were turned over to the Philippine Orthopedic Center and the 6th District of Quezon City. Through IKEA and the support of partner architects, engineers, and interior designers, the OVP also put up temporary shelters called Project Oasis. These were installed within the premises of the Lung Center of the Philippines, Chinese General Hospital, and the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, the Quirino Memorial Medical Center, and Manila Doctors Hospital. These were used for general operations of the institutions, such as quarantine facilities and triage centers, or as places where healthcare workers can rest after work. To help individuals who lost their livelihood during the pandemic, the OVP launched ckap.ph, a jobs matching platform designed to help our kababayans get back on their feet. Since the launch, 29,418 job vacancies were posted. We also launched Bayanihan Mart through iskaparate.com, where we help MSMEs build an online presence and increase their income despite the pandemic. Through this, their products and services have reached wider markets and customers can directly buy their goods. To address the challenges of blended learning, we launched Bayanihan Eskwela. It has three components. Number one, provision of gadgets to learners in need. Number two, production of instructional videos for parents and teachers to cope with the new setup. And number three, the establishment of community learning hubs. For the gadget donation drive, a total of 3,647 gadgets were donated to mostly college students who did not have the capacity to buy gadgets of their own. To help parents and educators cope with the adjustments of blended learning, the OVP partnered with the UP College of Education and creatives to come up with instructional videos that will guide them through the new modalities. A total of 23 videos were produced, all available until now at our Bayanihan Eskwela Facebook and YouTube pages. The OVP also set up community learning hubs in 58 locations in areas nationwide. The facility aims to provide learners with a safe and conducive space for learning. 5,696 student beneficiaries have benefited from our community learning hub services. Thank you to 832 volunteers who act as our tutors and the generosity of more than 12 partner organizations. In 2021, an additional 29 expansion sites are being prepared. Aside from this, we have 66 other areas applying as new sites. Next slide, please. The OVP also invested more resources this year to expand efforts to boost jobs and support livelihoods. Our Sustainable Livelihood and Training Program supports emerging entrepreneurs in profit-driven ventures that can also benefit communities they belong to. To date, we have mobilized 1.2 million pesos for 118 individuals and 10.9 million pesos to 29 civil society organizations with a total of 1,680 beneficiaries. In partnership with the Philippine Business for Education and USAID, we launched Trabajo for out-of-school youth. Trainee beneficiaries ages 18 to 30 are enrolled in TechVoc and employability training and are eventually transitioned to on-the-job training with partner companies. To date, 913 applicants have already been onboarded. 156 of them already completed technical training, 87 completed their on-the-job training, and 23 trainees were already hired. We provide the trainees with housing and daily allowances and have already mobilized 1.08 million pesos in resources. Next slide, please. During the surge in cases last April 2021, we launched our free telemedicine consultation service, Bayanihan e-Consulta. Powered by free data on Facebook, it is meant to serve patients who might not need hospitalization but need medical attention. Services in the platform include free teleconsultation, facilitation of RT-PCR and lab tests, provision of COVID care kits, daily monitoring of COVID-positive patients, referral to one hospital command center for emergency cases, referral to LGUs for patients outside the NCR Plus bubble, and mental health consultations. To date, we have a total of 1,277 volunteer doctor sign-ups and 4,135 non-medical volunteer sign-ups. We have also provided 7,622 COVID-19 care kits to COVID-19 patients in the Metro Manila bubble. A total of 32,569 requests on our Bayanihan e-Consulta platform were processed. Bayanihan e-Consulta, replications of Bayanihan e-Consulta have also been launched in provinces like Camarines Sur and Palawan. This was done in partnership with the respective local government units and the generosity of our Angat Buhay partners. Next slide, please. To support and boost the government's testing and vaccination efforts, the OVP launched SwabCab and Vaccine Express. SwabCab aims to provide testing support for barangays and communities with high COVID-19 transmission and infection rates in a bid to mitigate the further spread of the virus. For this initiative, the OVP procured a total of 22,000 antigen test kits worth 11 million pesos. This initiative has been brought to 6 LGUs as of today: Malabon, Quezon City, Imus in Cavite, Marikina City, Tuguegarao City in Cagayan, Naga City in Camarines Sur. Next slide, please. To expedite the rollout of vaccinations and support LGUs in inoculating as many of its residents as soon as possible, the OVP, together with partners and volunteers, set up vaccination sites for targeted priority categories. Doctors, nurses, and medical students volunteered to help with the vaccination. As of date, we have been able to provide 12,821 total number of single doses, 15,394 total number of first doses, and 7,308 total number of second doses. Vaccine Express has been rolled out in Manila City, Quezon City, Pasig City, Naga City, and Iriga City in Camarines Sur, San Pedro City in Laguna, and San Fernando City in Pampanga. Next slide, please. In keeping with providing services in response to the evolving demands, we continue to strengthen and professionalize the organization. In 2020, the OVP received its recertification from ISO after a successful audit of its quality management system. This would be valid for another 3 years. Likewise, for the third consecutive year, the OVP received the highest audit rating from the Commission on Audit, an unqualified opinion rating on its financial report for the fiscal year 2020. Next slide, please. We are confident that with the proposed budget for OVP next year, we can continue working with our partners to contribute to our shared goals of defeating the virus and improving the lives of our people. For 2022, the proposed budget is 714.56 million pesos. Of the proposed budget for next year, the DBM recommended the amount of 713.41 million pesos, which is 21% lower than the 2021 appropriation. For personnel services, including RLIP, the amount of 150.95 million pesos was recommended by the DBM as a total requirement for the salary, compensation, and benefits of OVP employees. Under MOOE, financial assistance subsidies amounting to 357.6 million pesos is equivalent to 64% of our operating expenses for fiscal year 2022, or 50% of the total recommended budget. The recommended budget for capital outlay for 2022 is limited to 3.66 million for the acquisition of IT equipment as endorsed by ISSP. Next slide. I think this is the last one already. We are a small office, but this has also taught us to act swiftly, to be agile, and have a sense of what people need. All of this was possible because we believe in collaboration and maximizing the public funds entrusted to us through partnerships. The Office of the Vice President will continue to contribute what it can as we strive towards our shared goal of building a better future for our people. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Vice President Lenny. Yes, unfortunately, the DBM doesn't include the congressional insertions, and for the record, the NEP or the National Expenditure Program submitted by DBM in 2021 for this year was 670 million approximately, and the Senate increased that to 900 million or so, thanks to the initiatives of the gentlemen here, Minority Leader Frank, Senator Kiko, Majority Leader Mix, and I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that we will probably do the same, Madam Vice President. I sense that's what the sentiment has been going forward, because we've seen you've made wise use of your budget, and you've had a kind of a multiplier effect by partnering with so many organizations. So thank you. The Majority Leader is the first. He wishes to make any manifestation or ask any questions. If he's online, I see his name. Majority Leader Miggs, are you online? If not, I'll give the floor to the Minority Leader in the meantime, and the Majority Leader can come in at any time. Minority Leader Frank, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yes, just a few questions. Madam Vice President, you mentioned, you presented your budget, and just a quick breakdown, your PS of 108 million, an MOE of 781 million, and a capital outlay of 9,662,000. This is for 2020, I assume, 2021. I'm sorry, this is 2021, the present budget. May we get a clarification? Because the next, what is this? Is this a 2020 General Appropriations Act or 2021?
What was your question, Minority Leader? Sorry, your audio is not coming in too clearly.
All right. Vice President, Mr. Chairman, in her presentation said, okay, I got it already. These are all based on the 2021 GAA. She had 108 million for PS, 781 million for MOE, and 9.6 million for capital outlay. How much of this was released? How much of the PS?
The entire amount has been fully released already, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
So the entire 108.
Walang FLR, Minority Leader. Walang FLR.
Walang FLR.
That is correct,
Mabuti
sir.
pa si Vice President.
If there was a for later release, because we noted that part of this budget are initiatives from members of Congress. We have experience, as the chairman said, there are markings are in the uh, approval of the budget, meaning for later release. Just a point of information, none of those budget items in your office, particularly those, I think it's about 223 million, which were amendments of the various members of Congress, including myself and Senator Pangilinan. All of these were released.
Yes, Mr. Chair. It was a comprehensive release. So the entire amount has been released to our office already.
All right, given such a small amount, I assume all of them, or a majority of them, a good portion has been disbursed.
Our disbursement rate, Mr. Chair, is more than 50% as of this time.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't hear you quite well.
The disbursement release of the office, Mr. Chair, is already at more than 50% as
Okay,
of the moment.
okay. Now, you mentioned, Madam Vice President, that you partnered with 346 organizations, and you had 456 in mobilized resources. Would the 456 be all private or public, or a combination of both? What are these resources?
Most of the organizations are private organizations, Mr. Chair. Most of these are civic organizations, development agencies. Some are corporate foundations.
Yes.
So
All right.
most of them are private. The only times that we have partnered with government agencies are some of our programs where, for example, we have a program in Camarines Sur, where we're doing a farmer entrepreneurship program. We are partnering with DA, DAR, DOST in that particular program, but it's been few and far between, Mr. Chair. It's really mostly private organizations.
So, Madam Vice President, the 456 million, which you cited as mobilized resources, are resources from the private sector.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Now, is this 456 a combination of the value of the goods donated to your office, the cash, or does it include the value of the services? Just to give us an idea, broadly, what is the composition of the 456?
Actually, Mr. Chair, most of the programs that we're doing with the private sector, we've just positioned ourselves as a sort of a conduit. So let us say, if we're doing a housing program, or if we're doing a construction of classrooms, the cash value of that particular donation does not come through us.
Yes.
We facilitate everything, but it's the partner who looks for a local contractor. It's the partner who who engages with our local counterparts. We just do all the coordination work. We do all the legwork, but I think I can safely say that none of the 400 plus million was donated to us in cash.
Okay.
So it's really expense of the private partner that goes directly to the ground.
Yes. Yes, because we noted that in your presentation of your budget that you had an MOE of original of 781.8 million, including the congressional insertions, and and then 456 mobilized resources, principally from the private sector, which means that in my computation, about half of the programs that you have launched would be funded by your initiatives and partnerships with the with private organizations. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, we note that the National Expenditure Program reduced by 223 million the budget compared to last year. And I would like to think that there should be no strong objection from any member of the Senate on the restoration of this 223 million, which was principally used for projects on a very meager budget that the National Expenditure Program would provide the Office of the Vice President. Would that view have the concurrence of the chairman, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, certainly, Minority Leader. I think in the past years, the Senate has always looked kindly upon the budget of the Vice President, and she has many supporters in the chamber in seeing how she has utilized the budget, and the COA has always kind of cleared the usage of funds by the OVP. So I think that trend should continue going forward. In fact, the House has said they want to increase the OVP budget to $1 billion, which I think is not an unreasonable goal to aim for,
Yes.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Yes, for the record, I can attest to the fact that the chairman of our committee, of the Finance Committee, has always been very supportive of proposals to support the projects of the Office of the Vice President through our congressional insertions. And that practice, I'm certain, will continuously meet the approval of the chamber. So thank you very much, Madam Vice President. I no longer have questions on this budget, a very small budget, and yield the floor to my colleagues. Thank you very much, and be assured of our support, Madam Vice President.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minority Leader. And I must state that the support for the increases in the budget of the OVP have been bipartisan, not just coming from the minority, which is her party, but also from the Majority Leader, also from the Senate President and other senators. Senator Binay, I remember, attended our meeting and related how difficult it was to achieve the goals of the OVP with the meager budget given. So I'll turn it over now to our distinguished Majority Leader. I see him on screen. Your Honor, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and my pleasant good morning to the Minority Floor Leader, to Senator Kiko, and of course to our Vice President, Ma'am. Good morning, Ma'am. It's good to see you. I am
Good morning,
here,
Senator.
good morning, Ma'am. I'm here to give my full support to the budget of the OVP, and if we can give as much as we can, Chairman. Bitin yung 1
Thank you,
billion,
Senator.
pwede pa natin dagdagan. You will have my full support on the floor.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Chairman, you know that we have supported Ma'am Lenny ever since from the beginning, and we have not waned their support for our Vice President, and we continue to support her. And whatever budget that she needs, Mr. Chairman, you will have my support together with the minority support in passing it in the floor. So kung 1 billion po kailangan ni Ma'am Lenny, bigyan po natin sa kanya. Nakita naman natin kung napakasipag ng ating Vice President. All she does is go out and continuously help our kababayans everywhere in the country, and I admire her for that. Even in the pandemic, or during the pandemic, she is still out there helping our kababayans. So, Ma'am, you have my full support and the full support of many of our colleagues in the Senate. As our chairman said, it is bipartisan. We believe in your leadership there, so of the Office of the Vice President, and we want to continue supporting all your endeavors. So, mabuhay po kayo, Ma'am, and I hope you always stay safe.
Thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you very much, distinguished Majority Leader. And importante po yung suporta ng ating Majority Leader, Madam Vice President. Kundi matatagalan kayo sa plenaryo Dahil pagka-suportado po ng majority at ng minority
Ma'am,
leader,
hindi po namin kayo papapuntahin dyan ng isang minuto.
Opo.
Isang minuto
unang
lang.
tatawagin po ang opisina
Thank
nyo
you po,
at
thank
mabilis
you.
po. Kumbaga fast lane po kapag may suporta po ng ating
Thank you po.
majority leader. Lalong-lalo na kung suportado pa ng minority leader at ni Senator Kiko. So now we turn
Maraming
it over.
salamat po.
Thank you. You're welcome. Most welcome, Madam Vice President. We'd like to turn it over to Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Your Honor. Sir, I think you're muted, sir. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Magandang umaga, Madam Vice President. I share the manifestations earlier made by the majority leader, the minority leader in terms of supporting the budget of the Vice President. Also, of course, the manifestation of the chairperson of the Committee on Finance, except as to one point, when he said earlier that the COA kinda supported or gave good remarks in terms of how the OVP has used its budget or the funds. In fact, the term is unqualified opinion and highest audit rating. Highest audit rating. So, doon lang ako hindi nag-agree sa ating chairperson na kinda.
I stand corrected. Your Honor. I stand corrected. Thank you for the precision. Thank you. I should have been more precise. Salamat po. Salamat.
Yes.
Thank you, Sen. Thank you po.
Yes, so we support the OVP's budget, and we also support the additional increase. And we thank the chairman of the committee, the majority leader, and the minority leader. And magandang araw sa inyo, ma'am. And makakaasa kayo sa suporta natin dito sa Senado.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator Kiko. Again, I stand corrected, and the unqualified opinion is are the words I was grappling for earlier. Thank you. So I don't think,
Mr. Chair.
Comsec, are there any other colleagues present who wish to manifest?
Mr.
If
Chair?
not, we can
I
let
move,
go of the
yes,
OVP.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
Majority Leader, yes.
Yeah, I move that the budget of the OVP be referred to plenary and as amended with an increase, Mr. Chairman, as amended with the increase that she's seeking. Or if we can
Well
give more
taken, Your
with that.
Honor. And we will just await
So-
details perhaps from the OVP or from the other senators as to where to place any increases as best would be best spent by the OVP. Thank you again, ma'am. We're honored by your presence, and we congratulate you and your office for good work and helping our kababayans in this very difficult time.
Thank you very
have the
much,
floor,
Mr.
ma'am, in case
Chair.
you want to make any other statements.
We just want to express our gratitude to the Senate, not just for this year, Mr. Chair, but for the support that you have given the Office of the Vice President the past years. The additional support coming from the Senate has always been very valuable for us, especially as we are doing all the COVID-19 response initiatives. It has allowed us to pursue many initiatives, and it has proven to be very helpful to those going through the difficulties of the pandemic. So thank you very much to everyone in the Senate.
Salamat po, Madam Vice President, and we'll act on the motion of the Majority Leader. There's no objection. It's hereby approved, and we will refer the budget of the Office of the Vice President favorably to the plenary with increases still to be determined at this point. Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. Congratulations to you and your office.
Thank you
Salamat
very
sa
much,
ating
ma'am.
Majority Leader, Minority Leader, and Senator Kiko. We have DBM at 1 o'clock.
Thank you.
See you later, sirs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning
Thank you,
po.
Madam Vice President. God bless you. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Morning.